But we're joined by Max from HodlHodl, one of the organizers of the Baltic Honeybadger conference in Riga. Here, Max, you can have your own microphone. I speak loud enough for the room.
Thank you. My own mic. It's really, I'm proud of it.
So maybe as a little recap, you of course co-organized the Baltic Honeybadger conference. Now a couple of weeks have passed. Now you've gotten hopefully some sleep. What can you say in hindsight? How was the conference?
Hackers Congress?
No, the HodlHodl
conference, Baltic Honeybadger. Well, I think it went really good. A lot of people had a positive response. Yeah, we're shilling another conference on this conference.
That's the way it works, man. Cross that promotion up. Right?
Yeah. Promotion. But I didn't want to specifically speak about our conference. I wanted just to praise guys from Parallel Polis about Hackers Congress. Really impressive conference. Great. Bit different, more into anarchy and crypto anarchy in particular. But I'm impressed. Really nice. Bit more cozy than Honeybadger. And would love to be here next year as well. So, guys, just if you have an opportunity next year, come to Hackers Congress, and of course come to Baltic Honeybadger as well. So a little bit of shilling yet. Still.
Absolutely, and it's great for me as a visitor from America when these conferences are only a couple of weeks apart. I can find a place to stay in between, and then I can go to both conferences, really maximize my time in Europe. And I don't like airplanes, so if I'm going to go on a 10-hour airplane, I want to make it worth it and try to hit 2, maybe even 3 Bitcoin conferences. So it really worked out well this time.
Maybe next year we will be able to cooperate somehow with other conferences, so that people who come, there's a lot of people coming from US, coming from like Asia, Australia, Asia, New Zealand.
Amazing.
So we do understand that it's actually quite inefficient to travel back and forth. So yeah, like a 10-hour flight, crazy. And maybe for next year we will be able to do again conferences closer to each other, so that you and other participants can just travel around Europe and enjoy both of the conferences.
And so how is this, because so there are of course people coming here who are visitors, right? There are people who come here as speakers, there are people like us who are media. You come here as a conference organizer. So what is your specific view that might be different from others?
I actually came as a speaker.
And also.
As a speaker, yeah. I spoke on two occasions. One was a panel that was specifically made for crypto meetups or crypto events organizers. It was really fun. I didn't prepare anything, but it went quite well, smoothly. Nice. And another one was about HodlHodl, how we build it, and I spoke a little bit about history and of HodlHodl, of course, and how we're developing, what the challenges was. In terms of attending the conference as an organizer, with my view, I think it's not ethical to point on differences. Because we had, like, during our conference we had some complaints of people who were organizing other events, and I don't believe it's a proper thing to do. Well, you can come to another organizer in private manner and just say, you know, everything is good, but you need to like fix this, fix that. Otherwise, I really believe that this conference is really good.
Yeah.
And again, it's a bit different from Honeybadger because we're like Bitcoin focused, and they have like more diversified or more like broader audience of people who are doing different stuff, not specifically in crypto. But I do believe that these both are different conferences, but these both are high quality conferences and events to attend. So I can only say the guys here did a really good job, really impressive, and huge respect for them for doing it.
I think you can quantify the quality of a conference by the numbers of ICOs being shilled, and that was surprisingly low here.
Yeah. So we didn't have any ICO. It was the initial thing, and I think the guys in here also didn't have any ICO. So
one of the things I liked about the Honeybadger conference is that it was just one track, and it was kind of all in one room. And certainly, maybe this is a larger conference; they need the multiple rooms. But for me, as a conference attendee, the one room really works for me. I feel like I'm there or I'm not there. Whereas this one, you have to choose between a great speaker, another great speaker, another great speaker, and I want to be in all three rooms at once. And maybe I just watch them on YouTube later. But it is nice to have the one room. And then as for this conference, one of the things I really liked, and I think a lot of people liked, although maybe it gets us less speakers, is that they start the conference at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. That really works with my schedule.
That's great. We do it quite early. You know, first day was 9 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think I quite made that one, but I was there the next day.
Yeah, but actually, you know, we were surprised because when we started the first day, the room was like 90% packed with people, so everyone came. And why we do that? Because we have so many interesting people speaking. We have so many interesting panels, so we just simply cannot fit in everyone. If we will start at 1 o'clock, then we will just we won't finish by midnight. So and everyone is like willing to party after 6 o'clock. So yeah.
And we're very fortunate here. This is a 3-day conference. It gives them a little bit more time to spread the speakers out. I think Baltic was a 2-day, right? So it was just
we've had a 2-day, just a weekend, and we will stick to that. Actually, we are we are Bitcoin focused, and it gives us from one perspective, it's good. We don't need to find speakers from other different areas. On the other hand, it's a bit more complicated because each year we need to raise the quality of event and find speakers that wasn't attending the previous one. And during the first 2 editions of Honeybadger, we literally invited some of the biggest name in Bitcoin industry. So basically, it will be hard, but we already have preliminary lineup for the next event. It will be more epic than this year, even though. So hopefully next year will be more interesting.
That's awesome, and I really like this idea of the conference organizers working together to try to schedule these conferences, maybe weekend. I know it's difficult, and everyone wants the right weekend, and they announced it last year and all these things, but I think it could really work out. I was just talking to a friend of mine on Facebook, and she's in Las Vegas, and she was saying, she went to HoshuCon, and Andreas was there, and Max Kaiser was there, and I've always wanted to meet Max Kaiser, and I kind of moved to Vegas recently, but I'm missing HoshuCon, and I'm missing some of these other conferences, because they're all on at the same time, and maybe October's the month of conferences. I don't know how the schedules work out, but any kind of coordination there I think would be fantastic, and anything we can do to help set that up. And even if it doesn't work out, they say, well, we like you and you like me, but we're going to have them on the same day. At least we tried. And maybe next year we could have them a week apart. These are options. We can work together on this, and I just want everyone to succeed. And when they're all on at the same time, I can't go to them all. Others can't go to them all.
We need to format Bitcoins.
Yeah, I know. Calvin and Hobbes, he has that clone machine, and he can just pop out clones of himself, and I always thought that sounded great.
Yeah, so maybe for next year we could coordinate somehow with other guys. This year we actually launched the ticket sales and announced the dates after the Hackers Congress was sold out, so we didn't compete with each other.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And I know, especially for HCPP, they're in their 5th year, and the tickets are really starting to sell out. And it's not a very big event space here. There's only a limited number of people they can get in with the fire marshal and the laws and such. HodlHodl is kind of a very large space. It was pretty nice this year, but who knows? Next year, larger space, smaller space, all these kind of things. Eventually, your event does hit this kind of point, like Burning Man, where more people want a ticket than can go to the event. Yeah, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing.
It was actually this year as well on Baltic Honeybadger that people will just disappointed because they couldn't get in because we were so filled in with that. And next year, most probably, we won't increase amount of people too much because we think we reached the threshold after which it will be less interesting, less cozy, a lot of people, and I think that 700, 800 is like maximum capacity for us.
So we talked to Jeff from Fulmo Lightning, and he's a co-organizer of the Lightning Hack Day, right? And this is not a conference, but a unconference. So it gives the opportunity of everyone who wants to get a speaking slot and to present what he or she is working on. So what are your thoughts on these unconferences?
I actually didn't have my own research on that. I think it's great. The problem with us is that people get paid. People pay us money or pay for a ticket, and they want to receive certain quality, and they want to see people who are like quite like successful within the industry. So that's a restriction for us. We cannot just give a speaker slot to anyone who wants to speak. We usually each year we refuse to some. We have a line of people who are waiting, because like this year, unfortunately, we had some issues with not because their fault, it was just force majeure, with some of the speakers that couldn't attend, and we just replaced them with people waiting in line. But again, we're trying to onboard like big names in the industry, because people are willing to see big names, people are willing to travel. People are not willing to fly from Australia to see a guy who is, even if he is like smart and he's like skilled, but nobody knows him, and that's the unfortunate thing, and I do understand that. Maybe for next year we will have like 1-2 speaker slot for people who are less familiar within the industry, but they have interesting topics and interesting stuff to say.
And I definitely think that's true. If people are going to travel a great distance, they want to see kind of some big names or some people who are involved in some big projects. And the unconference format sounds fun, and especially if you're local and you could drive there. It's awesome. But you know, if you're going to travel the world, you got to deliver, right?
It's the same as with crypto meetups. You know, you onboard local, to some extent, celebrities, like local people who are familiar within local community. Usually these meetups are free, or they cost like very cheap, and that's fine, that's okay, you know, because you're aimed on local, like promoting the local community, helping people to learn something new. We are like global event. We had this year, we had like only, from total amount of attendees, there was like, I don't know, less than 5% of people who were local actually. 96-97% of people were traveling from abroad to Latvia.
Yes.
Yeah, when we were getting back there one night, I'd left my badge at the hotel or whatever, and I talked to the security guard, and he said, "Oh, you speak good enough English, you must belong here, come on in." So I definitely don't.
Bad upset.
Well, but
Bad
there definitely
upset.
weren't a lot of local people there. It was a foreign crowd. Sure.
Yeah, but local people also speak quite good English. So that's,
well, I've just exposed a security hole. You're going to have stronger security next year. Oh, well. But all I got to do is eat at the food court. I don't think it was that damaging.
yeah, of course. And actually, I also helped some people to get in without tickets, because they were just willing to hang out with other people, with other guys. So why not?
Yeah. And one thing here at the HCPP that I like in theory, I couldn't verify because I was sitting down here and then the aquarium, are the hands-on workshops. So I think there was every day 5 different workshops with like really experienced, hands-on experience. What are your thoughts on these?
We wanted to organize a workshop this year, but unfortunately, as usual, you want to do something and there's just too much, like you need to stick to, you need to make your core event proper and very high quality, because again, people are paying money, people are traveling a lot. You know, when I hear that the guy is flying from New Zealand to Honeybadger, it's like, I think it's from New Zealand, like it's 24-hour trip, if he's lucky, you know. For some of them it's like even more, and of course you want to make at least your core event on a very high scale of quality. So that's kind of important. But definitely next year we're thinking of organizing a few workshops prior to the event. So basically we have event on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe on Friday those who want to participate, those who will fly in earlier in Riga, maybe they will be able to go to some kind of workshops. I don't know, developers and something like that. It's interesting idea, and I see that there's demand for that, and hopefully we will be able to do that as well.
Well, that sounds great. And Max, you also work at HodlHodl, a Bitcoin exchange. Do you want to just tell the people briefly what you guys do and what's it about?
Yeah, well, HodlHodl is peer-to-peer non-custodial exchange. So basically, it's in between, as we say, in between local bitcoins and BISC. So we're still web-based, like local bitcoins, but we use multi-sig escrow accounts. So we're a non-custodial exchange like BISC. So it's in the middle, and we don't hold any user funds, nor crypto, nor fiat. So for each trade, we just create a unique escrow account on public blockchain, Bitcoin or Litecoin. And so from a security perspective, it's way more safer than trusting your money to the centralized storage system like in local bitcoins, because eventually you just trade in their wallet. So in our case, we only have one key to the multisig. So even in case we are compromised, the money won't be moved because you are able to move it only having two keys. So we have only one, and that's way more secure and safer.
And I personally absolutely love the concept of decentralized and peer-to-peer exchanges, right? So I, for a long time, only I buy my couple Satoshis on BISC and HodlHodl. So for me personally, that is a trade-off I'm willing to take. Do you think that, long-term speaking, that centralized exchanges do still have a marketplace?
I think, yeah, there's I think the majority of people, even in crypto, who are in crypto not for the first year, they still they prefer centralized exchange because it's good for day traders, and there's a lot of day traders. Peer-to-peer exchanges are good when you need to sell without giving your ID to some kind of man or third party. They're good if you want to hodl. So basically, if you want to buy your first Bitcoin and hodl, they're good for that. But for day trading and day trading accounts, I think for 90% of the whole official market that we see, because there's also OTC market, which is 3 times bigger than the official market that we see. And day trading is still good, and I think people will be using centralized exchanges, and there will be more users, at least as I see in upcoming years, for centralized exchange than for we don't say about HodlHodl that we are decentralized, we are non-custodial, because the only decentralized exchange is actually, I think it's BISC. Yeah, so we say that because we are not competing with each other, we're just building a proper solutions. Both of companies, both of teams are building a proper solutions where people they're just trading directly from their wallets using the escrow system. So yeah, I think you see that centralized exchanges are getting hacked each year. Still, there's the amount of users increasing each year. So people don't care, literally. Literal people don't care because well, because it's easier, it's simpler. You just go to exchange, you can trade. There's an exchange engine, trading engine. It's easier. On the peer-to-peer exchange, it's a bit more complicated.
All right, and what about next year's Baltic Honeybadger conference? And we mentioned when we talked just a couple weeks ago, I think it was, that you might do an Africa conference. So any new news on that, and any announcement about next year?
We're definitely doing Baltic Honeybadger, and it's cut in the stone in Riga, most probably September. But we are thinking of expanding brand outside the Europe, basically. So maybe 2 conferences somewhere not in Europe. So most probably we're picking between Africa, Middle East, and Asia, because we want to have some kind of exotic place. And
that is the most important question. Beaches.
Yeah.
When beaches.
Yeah, good weather and something like that as well. So we're thinking about it. Maybe it will be like 1-day conference, or maybe it will be like easier because again, good weather, beaches, and all other stuff. Yeah. So people want to relax. Yeah. But we're thinking about it, and actually we keep speaking with partners that are willing to help us to organize in different locations. So. Hopefully by the beginning of next year we will be able to say that whether we're doing that or no, and who knows. But we like had a talk between organizers, and we thought that yeah, the second conference during the year would be good, but it's the maximum that we will do. We won't do Honeybadger each month because the quality of event will decrease drastically with that. And it's maximum 2 conferences during the year. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, that sounds great, Max. And just where can people follow you on Twitter? Where can they learn more about the Baltic Honeybadger?
In Twitter, we post any news regarding the Baltic Honeybadger and HodlHodl on our Twitter handle, HodlHodl. So it's quite simple. Yeah. My personal Twitter account is Keidun M. So it's basically my surname and my first letter of my name in the end. So in one word, Keidun M. So yeah, and follow us on Twitter to get some news and updates on upcoming Honeybadger conferences and upcoming future release. We have many interesting things coming on our exchange up until the end of this year. So in the upcoming months we will have like major features rolling up to our exchange. So we think these features could be really interesting for a community and beneficial for Bitcoin ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely. Let us know as soon as these features are made public, and then we can see if they're good, and if they are, we're going to continue the shilling.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Been a pleasure, and keep it up.
Pleasure.